Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Amizar channel, and on this episode, I'm going to talk about um, an update regarding VP Sarah's resignation from her post as the Secretary of the Department of Education. And actually, in relation to that, I also am going to read through or feature a part of the EDCOM 2's conclusion or report. Okay, so what is EDCOM? We're going to discuss about that later on, but let's first read through this article I saw earlier, actually a few minutes ago, and it's a article that was published earlier to, well, yesterday na pala, because it's June 29 now, 12:02. So, eto, yesterday at 12 midnight, this was published yesterday, and it reads as new DepEd chief known by end of week. So that's today, but I haven't checked yet kung meron ng update kung sino na yung bagong DepEd chief. Pero let's read through the wait lang ha, check lang ako. Okay, let's read through the article. Is it big enough? Um, wait, may mabablock pala siya. Wait lang, ano bang ginagawa ko? Wait lang, ano ba yan? Teka lang, sandali ah. Wait, ano ba yan? Ang gulo-gulo naman ni Miss R. Ang gulo-gulo naman. Nasaan ba yung setting ko kasi kanina? Yan, ito na lang. Okay, and then, takihan natin ng konti. Ayan, okay. Laki na ba? Okay, let's go. So, new DepEd chief, known by end of the week. Article by Alexis Romero. Manila, Philippines. Ano ba yan? While VP Sara Duterte's resignation as Department of Education Secretary will take effect on July 19, President Marcos said he would name her replacement by end of week, saying that DepEd performs a vital function and should not be left without a leader. Okay, and speaking to reporters in Manila yesterday, I suppose it's June 27, Marcos cited the need to continue the work in DepEd despite the change in leadership, describing the agency as arguably the most important department. I do agree. It's one of the most important departments. Well, we have to carry on, and the Department of Education is quite possibly, arguably, the most important department because education is that important. So no matter the change of leadership within the department, we still have to carry on. I would like to be able to announce the appointment of new DepEd secretary by end of week, the president said. We cannot leave it open. Their work is important. We cannot leave it like that without a secretary. So I am fast tracking everything. I said, give me several names. Do we need an educator? Do we need an administrator? Do we need an accountant? What do we need? And that is what we are trying to determine right now. For me, honestly, I would suggest, I hope the president picks an educator that is also an administrator. Alam niyo yun, yung may experience as an educator and at the same time nag-handle ng school or naging principal or naging administrator ng isang college or ng school or naging dean, yan. I hope ganon yung i-consider nila. Well, for me, in my opinion, someone who's like that would help the department. Anyway, let's continue. Marcos said his administration is also determining the status and the need of the of the DepEd, whose sector receives the highest allocation from the national budget every year as required by the 1987 Constitution. Grabe, no? DepEd yung may pinakamalaking budget allocation as stipulated sa constitution natin, and yet nagiging kulelat pa tayo. Sad. Anyway, Duterte resigned as Deputy Secretary and Vice Chairperson of the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict on June 19. Her resignation, which came in the midst of the souring relationship between her family and the Marcoses, is to take effect on July 19. After tendering her resignation, he told the reporters she had given her 30-day notice to ensure the proper and orderly transition for the benefit of the next secretary. Marcos said Duterte did not say why she quit her post. Para namang alam na natin bakit at may haka-haka na ang sambayanan tungkol dyan. Anyway, she didn't give any reasons. I asked her, are there any particular reasons why she has chosen to resign from the Department of Education and the NTF-LCAC? And she said, let's not talk about it, so I did not force the issue. The president said, why not discuss it? Sorry. I do not understand why not discuss it with the president na nag-assign sa'yo ng post na yon. I mean, if you are all about making things work and doing your job, that's a professional, valid question coming from someone who's higher than you. Bakit wala kang sagot? What? VP Sara, feel mo lang? Feel mo lang mag-resign? I don't get it. And all this time, here I am thinking na she's professional. Medyo nadi-disappoint ata ako. Anyway, while she's no longer part of the cabinet, Sara said in a recent interview that she maintains a friendly personal relationship with Marcos. Okay. Meanwhile, the Catholic Educational Association of the Philippines, or CEAP, said it respects the decision of the Vice President Duterte to resign as DepEd Secretary. In a message sent to Radio Veritas, CEAP President Father Albert Delbo expressed his gratitude to the Vice President for consulting with private organizations such as the Coordinating Council of Private Educational Association of the Philippines, Manila Archdiocesan and Parochial School Association, and CEAP during her time at DepEd. Dapat lang magko-coordinate ka dyan at magko-consult ka dyan. Diyos ko, sobrang gagaling ng mga professors and mga administrators composing those institutions or those private organizations. Anyway, I've met some of them, but I don't remember anymore their names, but I've met some of them. Anyway, hold on. Um, may she discharge her duties as vice president with the welfare of the people as her only motive. Sorry na natahimik ako. Meron akong gustong sabihin dito eh. But, tapusin natin yung article. Anyway, Delvo said, we wish VP Sara Duterte the best in her private life and public life. Private and public life. The Teachers Dignity Coalition, DTC, reiterated its call for President Marcos not to appoint a politician as the next DepEd secretary, saying an effective manager is required to lead the largest bureaucracy in the country. True. Kaya nga suggestion ko kanina yung educator at the same time administrator. Because yung administrator has somehow should have managerial experience at some level. Anyway, in a statement that TDC Chairman Benja Basa said Marcos should consider appointing an academic person or a person with experience in public school teaching as Duterte's replacement at the department. It's about time. And I think these people are always saying, choose this one, choose something like this sa president, sa nagiging presidente ng Pilipinas natin. But I don't know, yung mga political ambitions nyo kasi dyan, eh, no? Anyway, aside from this, the next secretary should be an excellent manager since that person will be managing the largest bureaucracy in the country. This individual will oversee the department with the most personnel, the most geographically dispersed operations, and the greatest resources, he said. The group believes appointing a non-partisan, experienced educator and manager as the next DepEd secretary, the focus would remain on creating an educational system that serves the best interests of students and teachers alike, he added. Most importantly, excuse me, the new secretary must take proactive steps and actively advocate for the enactment of pending bills aimed at significantly increasing teachers' salaries. Excuse me. Excuse me po. Higher budget. To improve learning outcomes, the government must increase the budget for the school voucher program and devolve basic education to local government units. The Foundation of Education Economic Freedom recommended yesterday. The Foundation of Economic Freedom recommended yesterday. Sino yun? Sino sila? Anyway, let's continue. We, the FEF, recommend increasing the budget of the current school voucher program and extending its coverage to kinder, grade school, and junior high school, the group said in a statement yesterday. Ay, eto ba yung subsidy or yung assistance from the government ng mga junior high school na binibigay din sa mga junior high school? Anyway, the group is also recommending the devolution of basic education to LGUs, which have set up local colleges in the past 30 years to serve the local communities. The success of private schools and the positive impact of the school voucher program demonstrate that reallocating resources and responsibilities that significantly improve educational outcomes. By expanding the voucher program and devolving basic education to LGUs, we can leverage local expertise and proven success in managing public services, FEF said. I am gonna hold my reaction to this, but I feel na dapat wag muna 'tong part na 'to, itong sinasuggest ng FEF because dun sa EDCOM nga mas EDCOM 2 mas ano, mas malawak at saka mas parang basic yung kailangang address um, na issues. Na if yung dun sa level na yun, maayos muna natin, then I think itong school voucher program would follow. Yeah, I know I'm not an expert on this, but this is a topic na I'm very interested in because ito yung kailangan natin as a nation eh. Medyo umangat yung edukasyon ng majority ng mga Filipinos para makapunta tayo dun sa progress na gusto nating makamit. Okay, I'm all for empowering and reinforcing and leveling up yung education natin as a nation. Kaya I'm covering such topic. Okay, let's continue. Citing the exemplary performance of institutions like the Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila and the University of Makati, FEF said the group believes public grade schools and high schools within this jurisdiction should be devolved to LGUs. Okay, yun na yung end nung article. And so, okay, yun yung article yesterday. And I'd like to now, let us now go to a comment by Professor Shalomagno about the EDCOM. And this was during the time when si FL Lisa made a comment na bad shot si VP Sara sa kanya. And so with that, di ba, ang daming mga comments before na sinasabing, naku, don't you think dapat mag-resign na si VP Sara back then? So that was April. And parang ang daming may mga ganong tanong na parang dapat mag-resign na siya because medyo may parinig sa kanya si VP, si First Lady, and that is just a meaning na medyo, for me, at least for me, that came as a comment na hindi happy sa performance niya, si First Lady. Because if, let's say, VP Sara was doing exceptional or doing excellent dun sa DepEd, then I think kahit anong issue they had between them or whatever, I think medyo matatabunan yon because, di ba, kung excellent yung work ni VP Sara dun sa department na yon, being that department holds the biggest budget allocation in the country. So let's watch this comment from Professor Shelo Magno because medyo pinahapyawan niya lang yung EDCOM and what it's about. So let's watch this. Wait. Let's watch. Okay. Wait lang. Let's watch this.
Sa palagay niyo po, kailangan na nga bang mag-resign ni VP Sara bilang Secretary ng Department of Education? Sa patuloy na bangayan sa pagitan ng mga Duterte at Marcoses na iipit ang programa ng edukasyon sa Pilipinas, kalalabas lang po nitong EDCOM 2 report. Ano po yung EDCOM 2? Ito po yung Congressional Commission on Education, a joint body na binubuo ng mga representatives mula sa House of Representatives, mga congressman natin at mga senador. At ang responsibilidad po nila ay mag-conduct ng evaluation ng state o kalagayan ng ating educational system. At sa report pa lang po, makikita natin yung title, Miseducation, the Failed System of Philippine Education. Alam po natin lahat na napakahalaga ng role ng edukasyon sa atin. Kung patuloy na nagfe-fail ang ating educational system, patuloy na mawawala ng pagkakataon ng maraming tao para iahon ang sarili nila sa hirap. Ano po yung nilalaman ng report? Tingnan natin sa basic education. Ano yung mga kasalukuyang problema na kailangang solusyonan? Nandyan po yung nabanggit na kailangan mag-procure ng mga libro dahil walang sapat na libro ang ating mga estudyante. Hindi po sa may kakulangan sa budget, pero may problema sa proseso ng procurement. Nandyan din po yung problema sa pag-conduct ng mga assessment na dapat daw ay 27 assessment ang magagawa, ngunit may problema sa 24 assessment na sana ay mag-guide sa policy making and long-term planning ng education sector. At yung pangatlo, nakikita po yung kahalagahan ng K-12 curriculum para pagandahin ang ating learning outcomes, no? Pero nakikita pa rin yung maraming problema na kailangan ng suporta ng ating mga guro. Merong time constraints, pero may incomplete teaching and learning resources at limited facilities para maging epektibo to. Mula po nung umupo si VP Sara bilang Secretary ng Education, ang pangunahing nadinig natin sa kanya ay ibalik ang ROTC. Parang hindi naman po ito ang pinaka-relevant at pinakakailangan nating polisiya para mas gawing epektibo ang ating education system. At hindi rin po yan nabanggit dito sa report ng EDCOM 2. Kaya babalik tayo sa tanong.
Yes, babalik tayo dun sa tanong. Um, Dapat na bang mag-resign si VP Sara as the DepEd Secretary back then? And with her resignation na nga, ayan na nga, nag-resign na nga siya. So, lalo akong na-push to, ano ba yung nandun sa EDCOM? Although hindi ko siya completely nabasa pa, but I downloaded the PDF file, and it's about, if I'm not mistaken, wait ha, I'm trying to remove na yung mga um, cover, ano niya eh, cover pages niya and all the other mga extra pages. Siguro mga 300 plus, 300 na mga pages yung meet. And, medyo, yun nga, mahaba siya. And I skimmed through it, or scanned through it. And nakita ko naman, medyo very detailed yung ginawa ng mga representative from the Senate and the Congress dun sa kanilang evaluation. They really looked into data, yung ang dami nilang mga meetings, ano yung problema, ano yung mga issues. They really looked into that. And they started this nung 2020 pa yata. And nung 2023 was the second round. Kasi noong 2022, I think yung evaluation nung first round nila of evaluation. And then they addressed some issues, kung ano man yung na-address nila. And then they did another EDCOM review and evaluation in 2023. And so yung conclusion nun, somebody please correct me if I'm wrong with my timelines, but ang conclusion nun was released early this year, January 20, it was released January 23 of 2024. So, nung January lang. di ba, na-release yung EDCOM 2 report. Mali ata ako, year 1 report. But it says EDCOM 2 eh. Dun sa pinaka-document. EDCOM 2 year 1 report. So, yun. So, yun yung gusto kong i-discuss kayo. Yung, doon na lang tayo pumunta sa conclusion part. And, oh wait, let me just share the document for everyone. I'm making a disclaimer. This is going to be very boring for some of you. But for me kasi, wala naman kasing talagang nag-discuss dito online kung ano ba yung nandito. But kasi what they here, what they showed here kasi is a very detailed evaluation of DepEd and the educational system of our country. And I feel na it's about time that we should be discussing things like this. Kasi if we are really serious about progressing as a nation, as people, kailangan nating at least focus dito sa education system natin. Parang panahon pa ng Kastila, sinasabi na natin yan. Sinasabi na ng mga ninuno natin, ninunuan natin, na because of lack of education, because of inequality, hindi nagkaroon ng pagkakataon yung mga tao na magkaroon ng tamang edukasyon. Kaya tayo naiisahan ng mga banyaga, di ba? Ng mga foreigners because kulang tayo as Filipinos sa edukasyon. And so, eto, we have our own mga kababayan na naglaan ng oras para pag-aralan, para suriin kung ano yung problema natin sa ating education system. And I hope the next DepEd Secretary would put focus into this more than anything else because to be honest, na-disappoint ako talaga with VP Sara because I had high expectations sa kanya, knowing where she came from and knowing that she or her family had the audacity to run for that post, vice president. Of course, at that level, mabibigyan ka talaga ng mabigat na trabaho or assignment dyan or task and hindi ka nakadeliver. Knowing the influence, the control, and the power that you have at your disposal, hindi man lang naging impressive yung naging work mo during your time there. And I know and I've heard interviews of Senator Win Gatchalian who've worked closely with her sa DepEd because si Senator Win Gatchalian, one of the people involved in this EDCOM to commission as well. So they work closely together and he did mention na si VP Sara had to make tough or difficult decisions for the department. And so if you really did care for the country and for the youth, yung sa kabataan natin, yung kaninang mentioned sa article, para daw sa kababayan natin. I mean, if you really did care about the people, then why leave your post? Why not get somebody who can help you out? At tapos ang nirarason na lang natin is better for somebody to hold a position na mas may kakayanan than her. Di dapat sa kanya na nanggaling yung recommendation kung sino man yung tao na yon na dapat umupo sa position na yon. Because she held the position. 'Di ba? Nahawakan niya yung posisyon eh. Alam niya kung anong issues, alam niya kung ano na yung problema, alam niya na kung anong kailangan gawin. And if naramdaman niya na hindi niya magagawa yon, then dapat siya na yung humanap ng tao na makakatulong dun sa department na yon na ma-solve yung mga issues. At least, unti-unti, mabigyan ng aksyon yung mga problema dun sa department, sa DepEd. Pero to leave and just, alam mo yun, just wait or just have the president look for another replacement for you and then ito turn over mo lang kung ano. Medyo disappointing. Medyo doon ako na-disappoint sa part na yun. Because, yun nga eh. Yun yung nakakainis sa mga politicians natin nowadays na they would run for office na hindi naman sila credible. At least not up for the challenge to work and really make life different for everyone, for every Filipinos. Pero wala eh. Anyway, ang dami ko nung dinaldal. But let's um go look into the conclusion section of this miseducation, the failed system of the Philippine Education EDCOM 2 Year 1 report. Okay, doon na lang tayo sa conclusion section kasi ang haba niya, no? Ayan, no? Tingnan mo. Yan. Sneak peek. Ayan, sila yung part of the people who made or who spearheaded this effort. Yan. Yan, part of the eto yung PISA. Nasa ng Philippines. Ba't wala yung Philippines dito? Wala tayo sa graph, guys. Tapos second to the last tayo of the recent PISA results. Oh my God. Considering ang yayabang nating mga Pilipino, no? Napakapipintasera natin. Nag-grammar check tayo sa mga ibang nations, ibang mga culture. Masyado tayong mga pintasero at pintasera. Tapos yung pala, no? Second to the last tayo dun sa PISA, recent PISA. Oh my God. Kagaling lang nating mag-ano eh, no? Ayan, may mga tables silang ganyan. This is a very interesting book or report to read, kaya lang sobrang haba niya. Sobrang haba niya. Ayan, you can see naman siguro yung outline that I'm scanning through. But it would be good na at least somebody, no, other than me, yung merong mas malaking clout na magdi-discuss nito, yung mga contents nito, part by part, para malaman natin kung sino sa mga public servants natin yung talagang nag-e-effort na ma-turn yung table dun sa issues na mga problema is magkakaroon ng mga solusyon and yung solusyon talagang nasa-solve yung problema. Kasi na-mention din nila dito sa conclusion yung one of the part na kung saan tayo may problema eh. Like we have solutions that are very good on paper but when it comes to application, medyo wala na pagdating doon. Diba? Nasa 300 na ako. Wala pa yung conclusion portion. Part of what Professor Shelo Magno mentioned dun sa kanyang TikTok is nandun sa conclusion. Part of that. Ayan! Ito na. Conclusion. So, this is the conclusion of the report. Do I have it big on screen? Okay. Lakihan pa na. So, conclusion. Let's read through it. A system is defined as a regularly interacting or interdependent group of items forming a unified whole. By this standard, the education system in the Philippines struggles to meet the criteria of a system. So parang sa pagiging sistema pa lang, problema na nating maging isang sistema. Yung education system natin. 'Di ba? Hindi pa siya parang sumasampa dun sa level na pwede mo na sabihing sistema siya. 'Di ba? Ayan, first two sentence pa lang ng conclusion. Rather, it is better described as a sector comprised of various agencies and groups. So parang sector pa lang, hindi pa tayo system, hindi pa siya education system. Sector pa lang, that's comprised of various agencies and groups. These entities may articulate high-minded vision statements and internationally benchmarked targets, but operations within and between agencies are circumscribed by an overly bureaucratic focused on their own mandates, unmindful of their links to other offices, bureaus, or agencies. Diba? Sabi ko, maganda, pero yung working together of all the agencies and groups involved, medyo sablay-sablay tayo daw doon. As what they detected dito sa kanilang 1-year evaluation of the agency. This was exemplified in the common refrain we heard during fieldwork. Ito galing mismo sa mga school, sa mga tao, sa ground. Hindi na sa amin yon, sila na yon, or bahala na sila doon. So parang the agencies themselves, kanya-kanya. Nagkakanya-kanya lahat. Ayan, there's a highlight here. Philippine education must shift targets from perfect on paper toward doable in practice. So isomorphic mimicry is a term used in academia to refer to uncritical imitation of processes and systems of other governments while missing essential elements. Ito yung nangyayari sa atin. I think not just sa Department of Education, but meron ding iba-ibang departments. Nagkakaroon tayo ng isomorphic mimicry of other governments, especially yung mga first world countries. Ginagaya lang natin yung mga ideals, but we are actually missing essential elements, or we are missing yung mga things na actually are kung ano yung applicable or doable sa atin dito sa Philippines. So, yun. Continue. This manifested in existence of boards that are not convened, plantilla positions that exist but are manned by untrained professionals, or assessments that exist only on paper but are left unadministered due to procurement challenges. Ang daming ideas, pero hindi natin mabili or makuha or maproduce. The Philippine education must shift targets from perfect on paper toward doable in practice. I think yun na. Kasi ang dami ng magaganda sigurong mga patakaran, laws, and all. But the implementation, dun tayo lagi sablay eh. Implementation or action or practice. Lagi tayo dun. Despite earnest efforts, other challenges to making education a system rather than merely a sector arise. These efforts have been handicapped. Ito na! Yung mga efforts natin medyo nahihirapang umusad because of these reasons. sheer overload, with many agencies relying on a multitude of contracts of service personnel to perform duties that have been expanded beyond their respective charters. Number two, lack of or fear of accountability. Many government personnel feeling audit disallowances and thus crafting policies that are often too rigid to realistically implement. Hello, confidential fund. I really don't understand the need for that. Tapos, wala man lang something awesome na nabalitaan tayo na nangyari sa DepEd. Di ba? Parang terrible yung consumption ng budget na nangyari pa. Yung pa yung nabalitaan natin coming from the DepEd. Di ba? Ay. And the issue, and what's questionable about that is yung accountability or, di ba, yung accounting nila nung confidential fund. Internal culture, which is often adjusted to the socio-economic and political realities of their organization. And this is very common, not just sa DepEd, but yung other agencies pa working with DepEd. Sad, no? Next, as we learned, coordination is not guaranteed by the establishments of councils and task forces, nor by legislation or department orders. It needs to arise from conditions that actually enable it. Yan. Yun yung kulang, no? Wait lang, ha? Yung baterya ko na naman. Okay, continue. Sorry, naglobat na naman. This is not practicable in a system where the chairperson is required to chair a quarterly board meetings of 113 state universities and colleges, and when DepEd Undersecretary for Operations who handles all DepEd regional offices also needs to also attend to 41 other assignments, including the National Dairy Authority. Diba? Why? The Tuberculosis National Coordinating Committee. Nasa DepEd ba to? Di ba dapat Department of Health na to? The Palarong Pambansa, and the COMELEC Advisory Council. Huh? Talaga? Your DepEd Undersecretary for Operations? May assignment pa siya sa mga sa mga to? Why? Well, hindi ko alam because, maarting mamamayan lang naman tayo, pero, nga, no? Ba't may ganon? Anyway, thus, EDCOM's Year 2 priorities center on the barriers that impede the agencies from success. The review of the charters of the three agencies vis-a-vis their current responsibilities and manpower complement, the study of needed reforms in procurement and audit, and assessing the efficacy of existing incentives and disincentives to actually nudge behavior within government. We have not invested in the manpower needed for our education system to function properly. I do believe. Oo nga. Our educational institution aims to serve as pipelines that supply businesses, institutions, and government with the needed professionals, but they themselves have fallen victim to the dearth of available personnel. Our early childhood education program has no plantilla positions and no defined education pathways for prospective daycare teachers and workers. Yun ang hirap dun, no? Our public school teachers receive one non-teaching complement for every 100 teachers. This is what I don't understand. While our teachers multitask to perform non-teaching roles at the cost of instructional time. And guys, I've also heard, may mga friends ako ng mga public school teachers, that they are really sad na yung oras nila na dapat sa pagtuturo ay nakukuha ng mga paperworks, paggawa ng reports para sa DepEd. What? DepEd? Why are you burdening our teachers like that? They're supposed to be teaching, not doing your job sa DepEd. What are you doing to our teachers? Diba? Talk to any public school teachers nakakilala nyo. They will say one thing. Nauubusan sila ng oras para magturo. Napupunta sa mga extracurricular activities or if not, doon sa mga activities ng DepEd na pinapagawa sa kanila na kinakain yung oras nila para magturo. And so, parang assignment na lang yata yung mga bata. Nawawala ng time for really discussion, mastery, yung yung class recitations, mga ganyan. Wala nang time. Puro paperworks na lang ang mga teachers natin. Especially sa public school. Anyway, there is a talent drought in the field of educational measurement. For the system to start behaving like a system, we must develop the professionals that can help our schools and agencies actually function. And remember yung nasabi ko doon sa isang teacher ko about yung ano yun, yung isang video ko, nakalimutan ko na kung anong video yon. When I talked about yung um, working with some of the people, influential people sa educational academe, na ang sentiment nila is about the quality of teachers that we are producing or that we have. Ayan, lumalabas eh. Ito yung mga main issues, basic or yung fundamental issues na dapat ina-address natin para maka-move forward tayo and maka-step up tayo. Pero apparently until now, it's still a problem. Let's continue. We must also strengthen the capacity of the stakeholders and widen their participation. Mag-1 hour na. Konti na lang. Ilang pages na lang. Three pages na lang. Okay. I'll try to speed up. An education system is made successful not by just institutions like DepEd, CHED, and TESDA, but also by active and informed stakeholders. These include students, parents, guardians, local government units, educational associations, academia, and civil society organizations. It is in the interest of the system as a whole that the stakeholders are able to critically engage with government, to provide ample check and balance, to refine assumptions, to suggest solutions, and to be partners in implementation. Yun nga eh. Dapat, di ba, may mga interaction yan among themselves. Tapos, meron tayong isang senador na may issue sa PTA. Ano ba? Continue. To do so, the government must provide both guidance and space for engagement. See? Build capacity and make certain that feedback is transmitted from the ground up to the top level of bureaucratic ladder seamlessly and without curation or editorialization. Oversight of education agencies is weak. The challenge faced by our learners in relation to the implementation of the mother tongue. Mention ko to do sa isa kong video about the nation and the richness of a nation, wealth of a nation. Yon. Basta yung may mention sa topic ni Kayo. Anyway, ulit. The challenge faced by our learners in relation to the implementation of the mother tongue in Key Stage 1 are the pivot in the prioritization of grantees under tertiary education subsidy could have been arrested early on had there been strong oversight from either the legislative or executive branch. Are they saying walang masyadong backup or walang masyadong push from the legislative and executive branch? Hindi masyadong Hindi masyadong na-support siguro. These are only a couple of examples. Time and again, laws are passed and programs are implemented without sustained and strong technical oversight of its implementation. We must study how we can establish or strengthen existing processes to enable timely intervention. Eto na. 'Di ba? May mga tayo may mga tao tayo. May mga agencies tayo. May mga organizations tayo. What we lack is the dynamic of them working together. That's what we lack. At eto pa, next. Our data is dirty, incomplete, and late. Wow, in this day and age, data is wealth. Guys, a lot of people don't know this and wouldn't even try to consider and accept na yung data is wealth. Data is gold. Data is money. Why? Ito. Sa DepEd, datasets across agencies are not interoperable or arrive too late to allow for rigorous analysis. This was echoed by the frustration of many principals and teachers on the ground. Ito yung mga questions nila. Common to din. General na rin to sa lahat ng mga teachers and principals maririnig nyo. Especially sa public. What assessment do we use? Ang daming pa-test, pero hindi naman namin nakukuha ang results. Or kung dumating man, delayed na. Nakagraduate na yung bata. So, para saan pa yun? Yan ang problema natin. We are gathering data, tas ang tagal nating i-assess, i-analyze, ang tagal ng gathering, ang tagal ng analysis, and so ang tagal ng evaluation, and then ang tagal din ng implementation. So how do we do that? How do we solve that? Yung kailangan natin Diba? How many years have we implemented the K-12 curriculum or system? May final assessment na ba? Wala pa, di ba? I don't understand. So, yung mga tao dyan sa DepEd talaga, sa government as a whole, you really have to look into this. The fact that we can evaluate it and find out na tungkol dito sa mga bagay na to, it's really surprising na bakit parang anong pinagagawa natin, but wala tayo sa direksyon. Diba? Anyway, highlight lang to nung kaninang na-mention. To continue, worse, teachers lament that repetitive data collection has eroded instructional time. Sa dami ng urgent data requests, ayan na, ng Central, Regional, or Division Office, hindi na kami makapagturo. Data flows upward urgently and trickles down casually. So, pinupukpok ng DepEd yung mga teachers and all. And then, pag nasabit sa kanila, wala nang nangyayari. Hindi na nila nararamdaman kung para saan yung mga effort na binigay nila to come up with reports, data that the DepEd is requesting them to make. Tapos wala. And next, to follow, for the system to function, data must be collected and analyzed efficiently and promptly. Only then can it inform decision making across levels, from teachers planning lessons to policymakers scrutinizing budgetary allocations. There is consensus in the Commission that addressing these impediments is a prerequisite for us in our mandate to set specific, targeted, measurable, and time-bound solutions. So, targeted, measurable, and time-bound solutions pa lang, malaki na yung problema natin. Kasi hindi nga late nga Late nga dumadating yung mga results or even the evaluation of those tests. Ano ba yan? Wait. Nahatching ako. And for the system as a whole to ensure rational decision making. Pansin nyo, medyo delayed or late yung mga information na minsan nabibring up sa mga Senate hearing, or yung mga budget hearings nila. You'll wonder na parang, ganun pa rin ba ito sa lugar na yun? It's maybe because nga, delayed yung pag-process natin ng mga bagay-bagay. Diba? Anyway, let's continue. There are no feedback loops to rationalize or update policies. This has resulted in outdated and ineffective policy. Already, we have brought to light overlapping policies on enterprise-based training and the corresponding tax policies intended to encourage private sector participation. The delayed inclusion of early childhood education to special education fund policies and the hurdles faced by schools due to the outdated Bon-Codine formula used to determine their budget for maintenance and other operating expenses. So marami silang overlapping policies. While EDCOM will look into the urgent amendment of these policies, the Commission must also look into how it can establish a sustainable mechanism for oversight and updating of forthcoming policies. Ayan, may highlight dyan. So, yun din yung work or objective ng Commission, ng EDCOM, why they are doing this. So, system-wide medium-term strategies must be articulated, implemented, and monitored by the three education agencies, DepEd, CHED, and TESDA. We could not focus on education issues in isolation, agree, without addressing the other factors that complement or affect learning outcome. This requires coordination with the DOH, NNC, and DSWD, which would enable the delivery of interventions holistically. Local government units are also critical partners on whom many of these services depend. As we deep dive into the challenges of the sector, we recognize that educational opportunities do not exist in a vacuum, absent local and global demands. Thus, we are studying mechanisms to ensure our universities are able to support local development in priority areas such as agricultural productivity and universal health care, while we make sense of the country's industrial policy directions. Correct. Studying mechanisms to ensure our universities are able to support local development. Meaning, um, they have to level up or step up yung areas as very important or priority, let's say, course, yung agricultural, yun sa agriculture natin, yung in terms of productivity or production, at least our universities will focus on, having parang people um have more knowledge or education when it comes to becoming producers. Hindi lang yung sa agricultural sectors, because we can be producers ng what, mga electronic stuff, ng mga, um, actually we already are, di ba? Like garments, di ba? Yung mga designers natin right now are stepping up, di ba? And they are like breaking in other culture, or 'di ba nagkakaroon naman na ng exposure. So I think our universities could also, 'di ba, work on that. Doon naman sa agricultural part, wherein natutunan ko kasi to from one of those professors na na-invite ko doon sa radio program na um sa university nila pinag-aaralan yung other ways of farming, or yung mga advanced ways that we could level up yung sa farming natin. And they are teaching this sa college, di ba? So I think they need more help on that. Hindi ko alam kung tama yung interpretation ko, but yun yung naiisip ko with this, So to continue, to be clear, the success of EDCOM lies not in solving all problems surfaced in this report. All of us will have to work hard to do that in the years ahead. As history has shown, a single report or even several EDCOMs cannot fix the education system once and for all. Its purpose is to define the scale and roots of these problems clearly and to propose a cohesive way forward as we build a working Philippine education system. By outlining the challenges and directions in these 28 priority areas, may 28 priority areas pala silang tinignan at pinag-aralan at in-evaluate. Anyway, we hope to contribute significantly to unifying the sector around the actualization of the full potential of millions of Filipino learners and help them. Wait lang, nahatching ako. Wait lang, guys, wait. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, saan tayo nag-stop? Ulit. By outlining the challenges and directions in these 28 priority areas, we hope to contribute significantly to unifying the sector around the actualization of the full potential of millions of Filipino learners and help them thrive in the rapidly changing world of the 21st century. So, yun yung end. The success of EDCOM lies not in solving all the problems surfaced in this report. All of us will have to work hard to do that in the years ahead. Its purpose is to define the scale and roots of these problems clearly and to propose a cohesive way forward as we build a working Philippine education system. So that was the conclusion. Ayan sila. So that's the second Congressional Commission on Education. The commissioners, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian. That's why when I saw his interview kay Karen Davila, he did mention that si VP Sara had to make difficult decisions for the department, but still, dapat she took it as a challenge. Diba? I mean, if you cared about the Filipino children, Filipino learners, learn what you need to learn. Diba? Get somebody who can help you. Kasi parang iba yung focus eh. Huh? I mean, if you can handle the pressure, then dapat ikaw na yung nag-recommend what you think who can help. Coming from inside ka na eh. Diba? I'm sure si VP Sara have read this report already. Pag hindi, ay nako. So, diba, at least you already have an idea who could, help the nation to do the work. But sometimes kasi, sa mga politicians natin, ano sila, no? Bound by their selfishness, by their dreams, their goals, their personal desires, and personal motives, kaya their hands are tied. Minsan yan nasasabihin nila. But that's the EDCOM report. Ayan, I'll highlight this here. So, yun lang guys. Yun lang yung gusto kong i-tackle dito. At least, the conclusion part man lang, I had it out here, open, for anyone to watch and think about yung sentiments na meron kayong maiisip or ano yung magiging reaction nyo. And I hope this will help you parang somehow evaluate yung huling taong humawak ng department niyan. If that person ever has like the desire to run for a different position or a higher position, then medyo isipin nyo na kung ano yung naging trabaho niya. Diba? I mean, if at first you know for sure you won't be able to handle the pressure, then dapat hindi mo tinanggap. And you should have like asked for a department na you know that you can do and really help out. Diba? So, for me, yung resignation talaga ni VP Sara is medyo really very disappointing. Because, yun nga, parang coming from a family who's very strong, very, very vocal and they're very, parang matapang and palaban. Tapos, you handle a big department such as DepEd, and in 2 years' time, wala man lang akong, at least ako wala akong nakitang medyo, anong term doon? Not striking, impressive during your work there. I don't even know how you can handle an even greater role for this country. So, yun lang for me. Guys, what do you think? Um, I hope the president would really pick somebody who can, look into this report and I they have naman recommendations inside this report. And I hope that next deputy secretary would really work towards already making the work or starting the work that needs to be done for the Philippine education system. Kasi ayan na may report na, may evaluation na. And the evaluation was very down to its core. So, ang kailangan lang talaga is actual actions, solutions. They already have recommendations. So, yung solutions na, nandun na tayo. So, yung actual work of doing the recommended steps, yun na yung kailangan. So, I hope the next DepEd Secretary would start doing that. And I hope the President will really pick somebody who can do that. I was hoping si Professor Shelo Magno, but then they had working experience before na hindi smooth. So, medyo feeling ko baka hindi na siya. But then yun nga, somebody na walang political desire, but somebody who is really advocating for leveling up the education system of the country, most especially leveling up the quality of learners that we have, educators that we have. Yun lang for me. Guys, what do you think? If you reach this point, thank you so much again for spending time with me. 1 hour of your time watching me. Um, do leave your comments on the comment section below. And I hope you have a great life. Smile always. Bye bye.